Hey guys, I wanted to give you a quick update on the state of the book and talk a bit about mind fortresses, which are a feature in my fantasy world. So this is going to go into some spoiler territory. If you haven't read the series, if you're not worried about spoilers, just go ahead and watch on. If you are reading the series and you do not want to be spoiled, then probably wait until Ty gets a mind fortress, and then you can learn a little bit about their backstory and it won't be too spoilery. So what are mind fortresses and why do they exist? So I love sci-fi conceit of a stack, like in Altered Carbon or in the Dresden Files, how he gets an entity in his head that helps him kind of expand his brain's abilities and capabilities. I love this idea of symbiotic relationships with otherworldly magic that enhances a human without making the human into a cyborg or like demeaning the human in some way, right? So the idea of the mind fortress is that in the old world, the old fantasy world, the Akoans had tons of these. They could just make them. It was part of their magical culture, and the elders, would have them. They would go through their lives, and then when they passed, they would extract them, use a ritual, put them in the children, and then the children could essentially relive the memories of their elders at a ratio of 1 day in real life spent for 10 days of reliving memories. So it's a 1 to 10 ratio natively for the Akoans, which means the kids in a year get 10 years of training, one-on-one through the memories of their elders. Now you can't like take a memory, relive it, and then restore it, and then relive it, and then restore it. You can't do that. You can only go to the cap of what the memory was. But these kids had these huge advantages, and they just increased and diversified down the line. So every Akoan, like even the farmers, right? If they have these, if they pass these down, which most of them have, they probably have some military expertise. They're these really cool, powerful people. And the mind fortresses being able to do this at this base level of memory storage and retrieval. And again, just as a rabbit trail here, if you retrieve a memory, alter that memory, right, as you're reliving it, if you start thinking about something or you change it or you whatever, right, and then you put it back, the changes will be in there. So you can get a game of telephone with these memories. You can alter a memory heritage, basically, but neither here nor there. But the idea is that these mind fortresses become the baseline for me developing arbiters and other things that live inside someone, that live in their psychic space, because the mind fortress lives both in the mental meat space and in the psychic space. So they're this kind of magical construct that can become the baseline for a magical consciousness or interfaces with things. And because one of my conceits is that the soul is inviolate, like you can't go and change someone's soul, but you can change their mind. The mind crystal can alter the mind and can interface indirectly or in some cases directly with the true nature or the soul of a person or a thing in kind of subtle ways. So we start to build this lore around this unique fantasy world that's an RPG lit series, right? I really want to build this out. So anyway, as far as where I am in the book, I'm on chapter 28. I am 81,480 words in on my alpha draft, first draft. My plan is January to launch my Patreon. I'll start releasing a chapter every couple days, so it's like 2 chapters a week of this draft. Once I have it just a little bit more polished, and with the caveat that once the books are published or go on Audible, I may archive them. That's just how we want to make money off of what we're doing. Now the plan is to get book 3 written and be started on book 4 in 6 months, give or take, if I can keep this pace up. And then what we'll be able to do is in 6 months, 7 months, we'll be able to go ahead and hire someone to do the voice recordings. We'll be able to make sure they all have good covers, and then we'll be able to start rolling these out by the end of the year. And you'll have 3 or 4 books kind of trucking. So if you're into Audible or you're into whatever, you can go into the series and feel like there's a whole series for you to start, and you're not going to read the book and have a cliffhanger and be like, well, where's my next book at, right? So that's the tentative plan. Fingers crossed. Here we go. Cheers, guys.